If you've ever found yourself standing in the dark, swaying with a crying baby, you know that feeling of just raw desperation. You feel like you would buy anything, try anything, for just one more hour of sleep. But what if I told you the answer isn't a product on a shelf, but a biological superpower you already have? Okay, let's get into it.
You know those numbers on the clock, just glowing in the darkness? The house is completely still, the rest of the world is sound asleep. But in your room, there's a sound, a piercing cry that has somehow become the soundtrack to your life.
And it feels like you were just here. Maybe you were. All the hours just blur together into this relentless loop of waking up and soothing. And in that complete exhaustion, there's this question that just echoes in your head. What am I doing wrong? But that's not the right question. The real question is, what is your baby actually experiencing?
So let's be clear. That scream you hear, it is not a battle of wills. It's not some tiny tyrant trying to manipulate you. It is a primal, biological alarm. It's the sound of a brand new nervous system getting thrown into fight or flight mode because of a really profound and, honestly, terrifying shock.
Just try for a second to imagine the sheer sensory violence of being born. For 9 whole months, your baby lived inside a symphony. The womb wasn't quiet at all. It was this constant rhythmic wash of sound, your heartbeat, the whoosh of your blood, all of it creating this predictable, safe little world. And then, all of a sudden, they are thrust into a world of sensory deprivation. The silence is just deafening. The stillness is terrifying. Their auditory system, completely raw and unprotected, gets overwhelmed, and that triggers a massive stress response.
And right into that gap, the gap between parental anxiety and infant stress, steps a billion-dollar industry. It promises a simple, elegant-sounding fix, a solution that started with one of the most famous composers in history, and it turned into one of the biggest, most pervasive myths ever sold to new parents.
So here's how it all went down. It started back in 1993. There was this tiny study on just 36 college students, not babies, college students, and it suggested a tiny, temporary 15-minute boost in one very specific skill after they listened to Mozart. While the media completely ignored all of those details. Headlines everywhere just screamed, "Mozart makes you smarter." And just like that, an industry exploded. All of a sudden you had CDs, toys, even speakers to strap onto a pregnant belly, all of it sold to worried parents who just wanted to give their kid the best start in life.
After years of hype and millions of dollars in sales, the scientific community finally delivered the verdict. A huge meta-analysis, which basically means they pooled the data from over 40 studies and thousands of people, found nothing. Zero. The Mozart effect was a ghost. Any little temporary boost they saw just came from what researchers call enjoyment arousal, which is just a fancy way of saying that listening to music you like can perk you up for a few minutes. It had nothing to do with Mozart and absolutely nothing to do with building a better baby brain.
But here's the truly shocking part. It wasn't just useless. For the most vulnerable infants, it could actually be harmful. See, the brain of a premature baby isn't developed enough to process the complex arrangements and the dynamic shifts in a symphony. So instead of being soothing, it was just overwhelming. It actually caused physiological stress. The magic bullet parents were sold was, at best, a blank.
So, the CDs don't work. The curated playlists fall short. This whole industry built on passive listening is basically a bust, which leaves us right back where we started, in the dark, with a crying baby, feeling totally and utterly lost. So what is the real answer?
The answer isn't something you can just add to your shopping cart. It is not a product. It's not a program. It is a biological tool that you were born with, and its incredible power has only recently been revealed by neuroscience. Okay, so get this. Scientists at Stanford University used fMRI scans, and they discovered something truly remarkable. When a child hears their mother's voice, it doesn't just activate the hearing part of the brain. No, it ignites this vast, unique network, a pattern of brain activity so specific to that mother and child that they actually called it a neural fingerprint.
Your voice isn't just a sound. To your baby, it's emotion, it's reward, it's safety, it's the idea of a human face, and it is the blueprint for language, all firing off at the exact same time. No recorded music, I don't care how brilliant it is, can do this. This is a private, biological conversation happening between your brain and your child's. All right, so we know your voice is uniquely powerful, but how does it actually work? Why does the simple, ancient act of singing a lullaby have such a profound effect, both in the dead of night and, really, for your baby's entire future? Well, the answer lies in a kind of hidden code. The first part of that code is physiological. When they're stressed out, your baby's body is just flooded with the hormone cortisol. But the moment you start to sing, a really clear chemical message gets sent. Cortisol levels plummet. Their nervous system, which controls their breathing and heart rate, starts to calm down. Your slow, rhythmic singing literally synchronizes their tiny body to a state of peace.
I mean, calming them down is the immediate goal, of course, but what's happening just beneath the surface is even more incredible. You're not just soothing them for tonight. You are actively building the architecture for how they will understand and communicate for the rest of their life.
For decades, we thought that babies learned language by picking out individual sounds, like a B sound here and A sound there. But groundbreaking research from the University of Cambridge's Baby Rhythm Project shows that's completely wrong. To a baby, spoken language is just one long, confusing stream of noise. The very first thing their brain learns to grab onto isn't a letter, it's a beat, a rhythm, that strong, weak pattern. When you sing, you are exaggerating that rhythm, and you're giving their brain a clear scaffold, a skeleton, to hang future words on.
So, the crucial point is this: singing to your baby is not just some sweet tradition. According to Professor Goswami, who's the lead scientist on this research, it is the fundamental hidden glue for language. You are teaching their brain the most basic rule of communication, how to find the words that are hidden in all that noise. So let's bring this all back together. We started in the dark at 3 a.m., feeling completely helpless. We've torn down the billion-dollar myths, and we've uncovered the science that points to one single undeniable conclusion.
The most advanced, the most effective, the most scientifically backed sleep and development tool for your baby cannot be bought. It's not on a shelf, and it's definitely not in an app. And you know, here is the most liberating part of all of this. You do not have to be a good singer. Your baby's brain isn't critiquing your pitch or your tone. It's responding to the familiar rhythm and the deep emotional safety of your specific voice, the one sound it has known longer than any other in the world.
That is the ultimate truth here. Forget all the gadgets and the gimmicks. Your voice, your presence, that is the most sophisticated neurodevelopmental technology your baby will ever have access to. It's been designed and perfected by millions of years of evolution.
That cry at 3 a.m., it isn't a problem to be solved with a purchase. It is a signal. It's an invitation asking for the one tool that can regulate their system and build their brain at the exact same time. So the only question is, are you ready to unlock the biological superpower that's been yours all along?